pop up. All right, so what's going to be on the table here for bans? Hooper, obviously, this has been probably the most banned Pokemon at the tournament so far. 44.6%. Garchomp, secondary ban, exactly the same as their previous game, but Scyther ban from Orange Juices.
Okay.
Love the respect ban, but this does let the Blissey through.
It does let the Blissey through. I don't think we're first picking that ever. No, yeah, Kea is going to lock down the Blaziken. Now, if you can get this Blissey Umbreon combo that is so good on that first pick of the orange side, they're going to deviate from that strategy a little. It'll be Machizel taking the Gyarados alongside Zugrugs Umbreon. So they may give up the Blissey in this scenario, but having the Umbreon as that natural counter already ready is going to be huge.
Yeah, and even Fusion, they kind of flick through the Blissey as well, thinking, what do they want to do? Mamoswine, so locking in their defender first, and the Ceruledge as well. So double all-rounders so far on the side of Fusion, really wanting to brawl with all of these mid-game brawlers.
Okay, now Roland's hovering the Eldegoss right now, but this is one of those niche cases where maybe we could see the Wigglytuff. It is a crazy call-out, I know, but the natural counter to Ceruledge is that Pokemon, that Recital being able to cleanse the hits.
Mr. Mime?
We're going to see some crazy stuff its own right, though. It will be the Mr. Mime from Roland locked in. All right, a bit of anti-dive to go along that Blaziken and Ceruledge, a decent option here.
Anti-dive, and remarkably a strong laning support pair.
Yeah.
One of the things that makes Mr. Mime so scary in lane is that he has KO potential. You don't mess around with this Pokemon, regardless of whether it's called a support or not. I actually think this dude is a defender / all-rounder. He's crazy.
Yeah, he really covers all the bases on this Mr. Mime. That is true. And the final selection is going to be Flareon's on the Inteleon. Ooh. One of these picks that makes me so excited. Flareons, we were talking to that player yesterday about their games on main stage, and they said they specifically didn't play it. The nerves were just hitting a little too shaky, and they were like, I just don't think I'm going to hit my shots. But
today's the day.
This selection is showcasing Flareons is locked in, ready to go, and has found that confidence they need to push forward in this tournament. There's a lot in front of them they're going to have to take down, but that Mimikyu to try to counter into some of these melee brawlers, the Gyarados with that huge knock-up Unite move is really solid, and it's going to be up to Flareons to start a lot of these team fights with that long-range poke.
Yeah, I think also adding on to that as well, maybe feeling very safe with his team's draft as well, because he's got a lot of teammates he can fall back to if he needs that assistance. Lots of aggressive potential, but also defensive plays if they have to turn around and help out Flareon. So the question here for Fusion, obviously they have to deal with the front line, but how do they get to Flareons? How do you get to that Inteleon when you have to deal with that Mr. Mime, the Gyarados, the Umbreon? I feel like the Umbreon will be a pretty pivotal Pokemon, and making sure that Flareons is going to be tip-top shape for the majority of the game.
Yeah, it is going to be a hard Pokemon to dive into. I was talking with a few of the Orange Juicers, remember, and as a composition, when I asked why we didn't see the Inteleon, a part of it is we saw a lot of Flareons on the Cramorant. Cramorant basically good in any kind of composition. It fits nicely. And Inteleon needs a little bit more room to work, like you were mentioning. Umbreon will be able to buy that space. And of course, there's not a whole lot of dive necessarily on Fusion, depending on how they play some of these all-rounders, that is.
Yep, so it looks like Roland's going to be coming in to that central area to provide assistance for his teammate to make sure that they're able to get that red buff for them. So not stolen at all. But Kia, Draken, they have other plans. If they can get a knockout here or just steal away this experience, delay this central area, this is going to be a big win for Fusion. Love the aggressive plays, but in the meantime, though, a Torchic in the top lane is actually getting knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, that is going to be a ton of it, even just effort gauge for that Magikarp. But they're going to see very close to the evolution. But yeah, XP2 get away. Draken will eject button, but they will not escape the Shadow Claw. And Kratos will take 2 KOs, doubling them up. OJ starting strong.
Yeah, I don't think you want to be giving away a double knockout to a Mimikyu this early on. So obviously Kratos, make the most of this early laning stage. Crush those lanes, because if you want to win the lanes, best time to do it right now. But with the Ceruledge counter knockout, completely stopping that momentum that we just picked up from that central area invade.
And honestly, kind of huge that Zynus was able to pick up the KO on the Chandelure. They've been stuck as a Litwick for quite some time, having to lane against that Mr. Mime, very challenging. But with getting that knockout, they're already back to that Lampens at level 5, caught up in the experience race.
Yeah. Roland just going to hang around with his team as well, just to have that wall ready in case they had that opportunity to maybe lock someone in, but haven't found anyone, although they're going to run into that lamp and even ejecting forward, locking them into that wall. They have the damage. Oh, the Drizzile just coming in with the snipes. I feel like Inteleon is going to make a comeback to Worlds this year because this Pokemon has disappeared after a couple of those nerfs, but it is so great at those early game rotations because of the burst damage it has.
Yeah, if it disappeared, it's just because of that passive. It is now visible yet again with the way it's been dominating some of these Worlds games. That burn damage is going to be a little bit too much for Kratos to get a score, but they'll jump right back in with the damage. Orange Juicer is going to break the first gold zone of the game. Fusion with an answer on the top side, but they will not be catching up to the score line of OJ.
I'm not sure if you're going to be feeling too good here for Fusion because your lanes are not looking too bad. Level-wise, they're looking really good for this Cerule Edge, but they're going to have to try and get this Combusken and Lampent to catch up. They need to get that experience, that they can hit their peaks, and eventually fight into Orange Juices. We do see a knockout here onto that Mr. Mime. Roland just being a nuisance on the enemy side of the map there, but providing crucial vision.
Yep.
I think this is something that is not really spoken about in Pokemon Unite, but sometimes just having your support play so far forward, providing you vision, telling you where the Chandelure is, where that Piloswine is. Are you safe to do that bottom objective, or are they rotating down? And because Roland did that, gave them that clear opening to just take the bottom objective. Yep, Regieleki is happening in that top lane, but can they defend with just these two? Or actually walks in. Bit questionable there.
It's all right. They got tons of stoppage, right? They have the foul play plus the Mr. Mime. I mean, they're locking this gold zone down. A small score will happen, but if that's all they're able to get in with a Regieleki defenseless pull, unbelievable defense from Orange Juicers, foul play from Zugrug, and all those mind barriers from Roland work fantastic to stop the mobility of all of Fusion's Pokemon.
The bait working out really well here for Orange Juices, and there's only so much Eldegoss can do by themselves to try and stop this, but can they get the counter KOs? A Gyarados knockout would be very nice here, but it might just end up being nothing at all. So no knockouts for Fusion, no experience. That was a T1 goal zone for free.
Yeah, T1 goal zone for free, and Flareon's was able to get a back cap in bottom side as well while that battle around the tier 2 with the Regieleki was going on. So the score pattern for Orange Juicers has been fantastic. Really holding on to this macro game and putting on that pressure. The levels are scary for Fusion, though. We have the level 10 Cerule Edge and, of course, the level 9 Blaziken. Anemo and Tempo are two of the most dangerous mechanical players we have in our game. You always got to be wary when they're on these power picks.
Yeah, gotta really play behind their team, Orange Juicers. Don't get caught out. Don't give them that free experience. So far, just this two Pokemon defending successfully. This Umbreon hanging on. They're even going to be using the Unite there, but oh, they managed to get the Cerule Edge. I think this is where Orange Juicers, can they continue with this push? Oh my gosh, Flareon, he got a bit of a snipe there, but he goes down. He got caught by the Piloswine, and the Unite being used because of the evolution. Roland thrown into the air as well. Gyarados going down. Fusion, can they burn through this? They really want this goal zone.
I'm not going to lie. I think going after the Inteleon there is a mistake from Fusion. They allow Mr. Mime just to walk all over their backline. You might knock out that main source of damage in the back, but after that, you have nothing to push forward, and it will be Orange Juicers able to take that team fight victory and the Regirock. Roland on this Mr. Mime is a legendary player. They've stopped goal zone pushes. They've won team fights on their own at this point. I mean, Orange Juicers are so thankful for this roster right now.
They're looking so good. Roland be rolling on this Mr. Mime, and we could even potentially see a Mr. Mime ban.
It's not weekly tough, but it's fine.
It's the same color. It's fine.
Okay.
Up top, we do have a Regieleki being stopped by that Gyarados mid lane, though. Oh, Flareon's getting caught there. Shouldn't really be that far out as that Inteleon. Pretty questionable play, though, but they have been spotted by the Umbreon, starting out with the Snarl, catching up multiple Pokemon. 3 players on the side of Orange Juicers, trying to protect that tier 1 goal zone using the Unite as well. Roland buying time for the team to come in. We do have the Gyarados coming in with the Unite as well, but who do they want to catch out? They get 3 Pokemon. 1 for 1 so far. They have lost their defender. Blaziken trying to escape
looking at a whole new Orange Juicers roster in day number 2. I mean, this is a completely different look from last we saw this team. A 227-point scoreline to just 177. They are winning so many of these team fights, and Roland is leading the way. Huge lockdown. That Mr. Mime showtime, blocking any score and setting up all those fights. And the patience from Machisel on that Gyarados, just being that da-da-da-da Jaws theme around below all those targets.
Knifing under everyone. Yeah.
Unreal. Finds those 3-peats, and of course the team fight victory after that. Orange Juicers looking good. And ooh, nice little shadow sneak hit on Kea.
Yeah, so catching out a little bit of vision there. We still have 40 seconds to go before we hit that last 2-minute stretch. So gotta play it safe here, folks. Don't want to get any more knockouts. No preemptive unites. This is the time that you want to try and get your unites back online so you're ready for that final fight. Now, down bottom, it's just a red ice. No attack buff, no defensive buff. This is huge for Fusion. And if they can rip through this Regieleki, which they certainly can with all this damage, this is going to have to be something that Orange Juicers needs to work on. Do they deal with the Aleki, or do they want to position around the Rayquaza pit? And it looks like positioning is key here.
Yeah, you have to get positioning right now. You don't want to fight for position with an Inteleon-based composition. You want to have that already set up and built and ready to go. Kratos is going to hang out on jump pad just in case anybody is going to try to score in that defenseless goal zone. The rest of the roster, they have that point lead. It might not be huge, but they do know they're holding on to it. Sherledge does score 58, but that's going to be immediate dive from Kratos on the Mimikyu. Revenant Rend goes down, so that's a huge Unite move already gone. Fighting, but they need to go down. Umbreon steals a bunch of shields. Mamoswine going to try to stomp all over them. But Chisel and Zulgrog are 2v3 right now, but Roland is joining the fight.
Oh, he's coming in. Roland be rolling there with the Unite yet again. 1-for-1 so far. Support down for that Mimikyu, but the Gyarados bounce. They catch the Cerulege. We're looking at a 3 versus 4 matchup in this Rayquaza pit, and now it looks like Orange Juicers, they want to take the Rayquaza for themselves, but Fusion, can they snipe this away? Can they slow them or stop them down? The Chandelure stuck with that Umbreon. They don't want to get that steal off at all. Who gets the last hit? It's the Inteleon Flareons.
What a combo play from Kratos and Flareon. So good. Blaziken, the one threat to that Rayquaza. He still had HP, walked up to that main objective, but Flareon gets the play with me Unite, locks them down, and tees Flareon's up for an easy snipe shot secure. Orange Juicers gonna start this match 1-0.
Starting 1-0, team morale. I'm seeing some big smiles on those player cams as well. So going into game number 2, you know, feeling this positive. They're going to now have to figure out, what do we do for game number 2? Because clearly, Fusions, they are going to have to come up with a solution for this next game.
100%.
Do they let Flareons play the Inteleon again? Do they change their own team composition? Because I kind of feel, I don't think you can play Blaziken and Cerulege on a team together. They are too demanding. I actually think they need something a little bit quicker here.
All right, well, I don't know if I'm that less confident than you, but hey.
Slowbro will continue to be banned in this series. Garchomp is still going to be hitting the field here for Fusion. Orange Juicers and Scyther. Respect bans, same as game number 1.
Yeah, we run those back. Okay, so Orange Juicers obviously feeling pretty happy about this situation. Last time in this spot, Fusion picked up the Blaziken, and we're going to run that back. So, a powerful Pokemon, obviously in its own right. Flareons, don't tease my heart with the Gengar hover, please. That would have been fantastic, but we are going to see an exact same draft so far.
It worked so well.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great, right? So Umbreon, Gyarados going to be those first picks on the orange side for Orange Juicers.
Yeah, look, it worked in game number 1. Run it back, and I feel like Gyarados is so versatile as well that he really fits in a lot of team compositions, especially with how Machisel, very team-oriented player. He's not a greedy Gyarados. He's always thinking about where his teammates are, how he can set up for his teammates as well. So Gyarados, great picks. Flareon's back on the Inteleon. Buzzwole coming up here for Fusion. So it looks like we're going to keep seeing this brawl coming up from Fusion, but they really want to go all in for the lockdown. And Are they just going to say, we're going to build our team so tanky that we kind of don't care about this Mr. Mime?
Yeah, that is so interesting. They're going to take a lot of poke damage from this Inteleon with no threat to the backline again.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a pretty early selection. They were hovering Dodrio for a moment. I'm kind of shocked we're not going that way. But it will be the Buzzwole this time from Tempo. So certainly a harder lane opponent for the Magikarp to go into in this game. And final selection
is it really
for
Guardi?
North America. It
oh
is going
my
to be
gosh.
Gyarados. Or Gyarados. It is going to be Gardevoir.
We got 2 G Pokemon on the team. Totally understand. But I'm trying to think for Orange Juicers. So what's the thought process of running a Gardevoir and an Inteleon on the same team comp? Because yes, you do have 3 very good frontline Pokemon, but is Kratos basically here existing to power up and set up for Flareons?
Potentially, its Unite move is also unbelievable into that enemy composition,
Lots
right?
of, lots of
looking
melee,
at a bulked up team
Pokemon
that wants to run as a unit. One Fairy Singularity is going to lock down so many targets there. I think the other thing is, in game number 1, Orange Juicers kind of dive-checked Fusion. We were like, hey, can you get to our Inteleon? The answer was no, with that composition of Ceruledge Blaziken. Now that it's Buzzwole Blaziken, I believe the answer is going to be the same. They're like, fine, we'll pick 2 attackers because we're safe back here. Roland and Zugrug are locking down that front line for us. We'll be totally fine. If we need a big engage, that'll be up to Machismo.
Well, let's see how these lanes are going to be here, folks. Game number 2. Teams are locked and loaded. Are we going to see a game number 3? Or will Orange Juicers keep the NA flag and wave it high and continue their journey through the Pokemon Unite World Championships? And I think most importantly, knock out one of the favorites to win the entire tournament. Very much possible, but we're talking about Fusion here. We could see a game number 3.
Yeah, this is a team that has been dominant all season long, so you can never count them out. In the round of 16, to see them exit, I think will be a shock to so many players and fans from around the world. Anemo going to go to try to get some scores in on this Buzzwole, but it wants to out-contest Machismo, who is able to secure that Bunnelby in the face of a Buzzwole, so impressive stuff. Buzzwole not having the best levels 1 through 4, definitely starts seeking higher spots once they hit that level 5.
Yeah, Machismo just looks so comfortable. Playing Magikarp into Buzzwole of all things. Like, this is not a matchup that you would see someone be able to steal away that last hit. But Anemo, we've seen this player just absolutely blaze things yesterday, so I don't think that's going to phase him at all. He's just getting his levels, getting his experience, getting ready for that first little skirmish. And it looks like top lane will be the priority as well for Orange Juicers, so we could be looking at a pretty big brawl.
Yeah, I think both these teams, if their central area clears are alone, they are going to prioritize this top side. Big barrier stun. Blaziken tries to kidnap Roland, who's taking a ton of damage. Superpower offensively from Anemo lands on both Kratos and Machismo. Not enough damage to double up on any of those KOs, but they clear a ton of space. 30 points go in for Anemo.
Yeah, there's not really much. They've actually got the Curlia. Oh my gosh, Anemo, surprise knockout there on the central laner. That really hurts Orange Juicers because that's going to basically stop that defensive push coming in from that central area. Although, look, we've got a Drizzle coming in. Flareon wants to come in and help, but he has to be careful because if Anemo gets him, they get the knockout. Drizzle rotated for this.
Anemo wants even more in a KO streak of 2. What a response from Fusion. For those of you counting at home, by the way, Anemo is currently, and if they score this, 6 attack weight stacks.
Anemo, this is terrifying. 6 stacks this early on. I don't think you can touch this top lane anymore.
Oh man, I mean at the very least we have the Gyarados, so Machismo does evolve at some point in that brawl, so maybe all those resources worth it, but at this point Buzzwole is stacked to the maximum amount and they are going to be swinging for the fences. Chandelure Evolution, after they clear out some of that central area, it has been Tempo and Zainu splitting the EXP back there between the Ceruledge and the Blaziken for the majority of this match.
Speaking of experience, Fusion looking at a massive experience lead. 2 level 8 Pokemon on their side, whereas we only have the Curlia sitting at that level 7 here for Orange Juicers. So unfortunately, that little bit of a kerfuffle in that top lane really not helping them in that experience department. They might have to slow things down a little bit just to play catch up because Machismo's not looking too confident here anymore. And Nemo just looking too big on this Ultra Beast.
Yeah, interesting. Ooh, Anemo kind of faking going to break that goal zone, wants to get some more points. Now is threatening 28, but if they're going to dive in, that is going to be so challenging. Trying to make that choice between getting Regieleki to break the goal zone or them, very, very difficult. But they are going to break it and send Regieleki towards tier 2.
He's level 9, and Nemo is so big. And level 8 is the highest level, now level 9, on the side of Orange Juicers. But down bottom, this is going to cause quite a bit of issues, especially if Anemo decides to go, but he's actually rotating up top instead, wanting to push with that Regieleki. And Mishizzle, not looking too happy there, the Mr. Mindwall basically stopping him from crossing back into that lane. But look at this Buzzwole. He's hunting. He wants to eat something, and I think it might be a Gyarados.
Yeah, fish on the menu potentially. Flying fish, a rare one, but Mishizzle is going to try to escape. Early bounce, they won't have the Unstoppable to try to dodge any of these grabs. And Anemo's going to get that full combo. Mishizzle down
10.
yet again.
He's level 10. This guy looking unstoppable in this early to mid game, and if he continues to snowball like this, I'm not sure how Orange Juicers is going to be able to easily eliminate this Buzzwole from the fights. They will maybe have to overcommit Unites to catch him out. Down bottom though, they've actually decided to commit their whole team down here for this Regice. It's not an attack or defensive Regice, it's just going to be the heal bonus, but they will get it. They need this experience so badly, and they're going to try and push with this as well.
Ooh, nice barrier stop on Zainus. Tees up for 2 slime shots in a row, and Flareon's is going to finally get on the KO board. Tons of scores going to rain in from Orange Juicers now as they will break this goal zone, as Anemo and Kea do have to retreat for a little bit and allow that space. The problem here for Orange Juicers is, though, that the entire time Tempo on this Blaziken was scoring in that tier 2 on top side.
Scoring tier 2 topside, just basically getting everything that he needs to be that big powerhouse in that mid game. We're at the 5-minute mark here, folks. Halfway through the game, 3 minutes to go for that last 2-minute stretch, and things actually looking pretty even again. We're not looking at that very one-sided experience-heavy fusion. Orange Juice is doing a really great job catching up in the experience department and now rotating together into that top lane. Blaziken securing that Regieleki. Gyarados is here though. Mishizzle setting up by himself with the Dragon Current, but unfortunately caught up by Anemo, so no knockout for him. But I think it's a clean disengage here. Mishizzle bouncing out, but actually they're going to commit.
Yeah, Blaziken's going to get the chase. That's a lot of damage from Flareons to back them up, though. And now Roland and Flareons need to commit to this fight. Anemo going to get involved a little bit. Rotation around, trying to find Flareons, but Roland always there with the backup. Great barrier stun. Interesting choice from Orange Juicers there, right? Mishizzle sees an opportunity to dive onto the Blaziken, but it's 1v4. Flareons rotates for support, but Mr. Mime and Gardevoir defending against the Regieleki. I mean, a rare spot where it felt like the communication was a little off there from Orange Juicers, but they bring it back. Great coverage by Roland to protect Flareons, and now they got to regain for their next fight.
Yeah, just got to keep things steady. Don't lose it even after having a little bit of a rough start in that laning stage. They can make that recovery happen, but they got to make sure they don't lose the Guardian. They have spouted out Anemo, so no easy knockout on that central laner on the side of Orange Juicers. Fusion. You can see Fusion, they want to make something happen, but the way the Orange Juicers are playing, I love how defensively positioned they are so that they're just not caught out for free.
Yeah, it's so tough to play into a front-to-back team like this without a speedster, but hey, great setup. Flareon's able to tee up that shot. What a slam shot. I mean, if they were nervous about missing their shots last time, I think they got all kinds of confidence this time around. Zugrug will go down, though. A 1v4 excursion is going to get punished, but those snipe shots are working out great for poke damage. Blaziken and Eldegoss are extremely hurt right now. Mamoswine dives onto 2, locks down the Kratos, but they are going to get away. Registeel, though, is going to be secured by Fusion.
Secured by Fusion. I did see Flareon's try to go for the charge there, but just too little too late, unfortunately, with the positioning. Up top, though, looks like Regieleki may be the next objective here, spawning right now, and obviously Fusion, if they can grab that, this will be a big hindrance to Orange Juicers because they have to deal with this Regieleki, and with Rayquaza coming online so soon, you want to spend your time now getting that experience. And if you can get a stray knockout, that's great as well, but you really want that experience. But the experience game is currently in favor of Fusion with 2 level 13s, and Nemo and Blaziken level 13. They're ready to go, but actually Orange Juicers, their cores are all level 13 as well, so they're good to go.
Yeah, after an explosive start, Fusion's actually been pretty quiet for most of
petered
the
out.
mid-game, right? Orange Juicers not necessarily taking over the matchup, but certainly gaining momentum and gaining a whole lot of levels. We've hit the final stretch. If at the end of this, Orange Juicers are victorious, Fusion goes home. If Fusion win this, we go to a game number 3. Rayquaza's on the map.
Yep. Fusion need to be very decisive with their jump, and actually Nemo, instant knockout! He dove in and he got deleted! That is massive! 4 versus 5, this is not the matchup Fusion want, but you can see Orange Juicers, they also want that Rayquaza. They're forcing Fusion to fight. They say, if you don't fight into us, we want that Rayquaza. Zagrog has gone down in the back lines, so Inteleon working on that Blaziken, melting them down. The Mammothswine, they're all on their own. No backup there.
Flareon's is hitting every shot. He chased down that Blaziken. That's such an important KO to get, and he also done a ton of poke damage on that Sarilege. Now he's on an ever-present threat. Machisel is able to ignore all that Anemo grab and escape.
The walls.
About down to half HP. Flareon's is not getting body blocked. Buzzwole trying to get it.
Unite!
Unite, setting it up. Snipe shot's already used, and it will be Fusion securing it. Sarilege take the Ray.
They get the Ray, they get the double knockout as well. Can they break the shields? Can they do anything? We have Zagrug outrunning that Blaziken in that bottom lane. Roland as well as the Gardevoir wanting to defend that bottom lane as well, but someone has to defend that home base. Break Draken Shield. Don't let him score, and they don't let him score at all.
There's only 30 seconds left, though. Another 100 in from Buzzwole, another 100 in from Tempo, and that is going to seal the deal. 20 seconds remain in our match, and we are going to be going to a game number 3 in this knockout round.
That was such a close Rayquaza fight. The fact that it really came down to just who got that final hit, and the fact that Sarilege, oh my gosh, that final hit. Orange Juicers, they just needed something to land to secure that Rayquaza, but they just didn't have it in them. It's a Buzzwole. I don't really think you can have too many expectations for that lane matchup. It was just, I think those unlucky knockouts, like getting caught and essentially feeding that Buzzwole, that early game experience, I think that's where Anemo really ran away with the game. If he didn't get that early game experience, I think we'd be looking at a much vastly different game in that previous matchup. It was just, he got too much too soon and basically snowballed out of control. Yeah,
100%. All right, we're probably going to be looking at very similar picks in this game. I mean, the bans are identical. I don't see any reason for Fusion to be shifting things up here. It will be a Blaziken locked in. Now, Orange Juicers are going to grab the Umbreon. I really like this Blissey, but Machisel is just feeling this Gyarados. They are going to lock it in 3 games in a row.
Gotta make sure that they can somehow stabilize his lane. Get him that early Gyarados if possible. But again, it's Fusion. And the way that they always run that top lane, Anemo, if they've got to find a favorable matchup. And I don't really know how you want to do this. If you pick an Eldegoss, just really push hard in that top lane, get a strong central laner. Flareon's hovered over the Mew, back onto the Inteleon. What is the play here? Do they keep going with the Inteleon? I think Flareon's Inteleon has been great. I don't think he really changed that.
It has been, but because of Fusion's draft strategy here, it makes it a tougher pick. They take the Chandelure and the Mammothswine earlier than they have so far in their drafting phase, and they threaten Speedsters with their final picks. So all of a sudden, it makes it very difficult for Flareon's to lock that down. Final selections for Fusion are going to be coming in now. It will be the Eldegoss and the Buzzwole. So, Anemo's Buzzwole is going to make it back 2 games in a row. Kratos currently hovering the Urshifu. I actually think this would be a great answer to what has been going on, but that Chandelure matchup can be pretty difficult. I'm expecting Kratos to play very heavy into the top side.
He play heavy into the top side, and I think they need to send somebody in that central area. Guaranteed that central area experience, get that level 5, and then you start running down those lanes. Because if you're Fusion, and you look at this team so far, you're looking at that Urshifu and saying, guys, I actually think we just try and go for an invade. Slow down his fire, because what are you going to do? There's a Magikarp in the top lane. Magikarp's not going to even do anything in that top lane. Bottom, okay, Flareon's might rotate as that Drizzile, but he wants that experience too. I think if you're Orange Juicers, stabilize your lanes. Get the experience on Kratos first, then focus on Machisel, because Flareon, he's been so consistent in that bottom lane. He doesn't need help. He is such an independent laner, which I feel like makes him such a top-tier player for this team.
That is true. He has looked amazing, as have both of these rosters. And now we are headed to a game number 3 elimination match here in Worlds. Honolulu, make some noise for Orange Juicers and Fusion. One team goes home, one team moves on.
Oh no, I don't even know who goes home at this point. Both of these teams deserve to go through, but someone has to open the door and basically just watch.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're in the moment of World Championships where heartbreaks happen, but of course dreams also come true, which is a fun after effect as well. Zainu's on the Chandler, going to head into that bottom path like we talked about again. Pretty tough early lane matchup for them in particular.
And look at this, straight in. Kia's like, guys, we need to stop this Urshifu if possible, but Roland's doing his job. He knows he has to stop this. Even Zugrug is coming in because this little swine up, he wants to steal that experience. If he can KO Kratos here, that'll be even better. But with the assistance of Zugrug, Draken's going to have to make a clean getaway because he's running out of health.
All right, so an identical strategy to game number 2 from Fusion with the double invade. Both the Gossiflor and the Swine Up tried to make it to the enemy central area. Not much taken away, but of course we still don't have an Urshifu, so I think we have to count that as a success.
Count it as a big success because it does open up those side lanes for Fusion to really do whatever they want. But now hitting level 5. What's the choice of lane here? Are we going to be seeing Kratos go top lane or bottom? Definitely top lane. They want to get Mashizzle into that Gyarados as quick as possible, but they're going to miss that first wave of Swablu and Altaria.
Yeah, favoring the KO. Wicked Blow lined up as well. It's Dark Bear as Kratos who swings in. Mashizzle trying to get close to take credit for this KO. Paul and Puff going to do a bit of burst of damage, and KO will take the
my gosh.
Anemo grabs a wild Pokemon and uses that as the KO tool for them. Anemo, Tempo, KO all work together, and that's a Lampant rotation for the final touch of damage. Fusion win that first team touch.
I think we just witnessed an Elder God moment. Kia just sitting there, basic attacking. Yes, Anemo was the target there, but the damage output. This is why Eldegoss is considered a top-tier support, can just do so much in the laning stage and really assist with those knockouts. And for Orange Juicers, for that engagement in the top lane to go sour, this is not good news at all.
Yeah, pretty brutal. Flareon's going to try to make a cool little play with the check button, but the water gun going to go wide. They don't get the KO onto the Lampants. Tempo has not hit level 7 yet, whereas Kratos has hit that benchmark. And this Urshifu is going to be a terrifying threat to deal with. This is the first time in this matchup that Orange Juicers have drafted extremely good secure Pokemon in their central area. So the Rayquaza fight has definitely become more of a priority as we go into game number 3 as Orange Juicers focusing on a bit more of objective-mindedness.
Yeah, interesting decision here. We'll have to see if it pays off for them because Wicked Blow, I kind of have some questions when it comes to this kind of Urshifu, but if they can make it work, absolutely go for it. And that Wicked Blow, securing the knockout onto the defender. So nice little boost of experience, but also eliminating one of the frontliners for Fusion.
All right, they take him down. Reggie is going to be spawning on the bot side of this map. Orange Juicers with a heavy focus, and with Inteleon and Urshifu, those are two extremely difficult Pokemon to answer. Big snipe shot, tease up Kratos, who does close out that KO. Overheat is going to take it. Tempo with great positioning, both body blocking the snipe shot and setting up for the secure, and that's Fusion with the first Reggie.
Fusion stealing that Reggie away. They did get a knockout for that, but I'm not really sure if that's the trade you're really asking for in that bottom fight, because this attack buff just means Fusion can take over this tier 1 gold zone unless they can somehow stop them. They do bring the Urshifu back. Snipe shot missing, unfortunately, just landing on an empty wall. Kratos, though, thinking, wanting to go engage. Zugrug hunting as well, but they just can't find that opening. But actually, no, they caught the Urshifu with the Ice Fang. We'll be able to get out with the Throat Chop. Now Zugrug being chased, but I think the fight is just going to end here. These openings are so small, and if Orange Juicers can't capitalize on it the moment it happens, they just seem to lose it from there on.
Yeah, this bottom path has been pretty patient from Orange Juicers. It's been focusing more on defending this goal zone rather than trying to get big KOs.
Inteleon!
Pulls them them away, but Flareons is going to make it away for a moment, but that is going to be the chase down all the way to the other side. Tempo does get the knockout with the overheat, and despite the Urshifu Unite, Fusion is hanging on. Zogrug trying to defend this goal zone. It's 1v3, but the rest of Orange Juicers are trying to defend against the Reggie Alecki in the top side. Fusion are taking over this game.
Fusion are running down this game in both lanes. The fact that they've split their forces, and regardless of what's happened, Orange Juice is really struggling on both fronts. It just really goes to show that that mishap in the early game is now really coming back to bite them in this mid-game. They have to figure out a strategy to stabilize somehow, whether it be to go for some clever picks, a diversion, go for those back caps, because looking at the goal zone situation, only 17 points have been scored by Orange Juicers. They just haven't been able to touch Fusion's goal zones.
Yeah, it's been brutal. Fusion's been winning the laning matchups, the flanks, the objective fights. Everything has been going in their favor in this game number 2. They've eclipsed 200 points and we're just sub of the 5-minute mark. Tempo does take a bit of poke damage, and with no support to heal that back up, these snipe shots are very sticky right now. That's 3 members. 3 different members hit with those snipe shots, and now finally, Eldegoss is going to join the fight. Kea gets involved. Big Kratos engage. Ebon Fist knocks off Tempo. They're going to try to earn that KO. Gyarados will at least get the Chandelure, but the Mr. Mime Unite move is going to be leading the charge.
Oh, Mishizzle not feeling too happy here. He is too low. He needs some kind of healing. Tried to go for the aggressive bounce. Dragon Current into the back, trying to catch Anemo. They will throw him in the air. Can they somehow turn this fight around? They're losing health bars, and that is it. They have no health left. Back to the Pokemon Center for you, and Fusion continue their advance down Orange Juice's lanes.
Yeah, Orange Juicers just seeming like they've run out of momentum. They can't capitalize on some of these snipe shots. They got a big chance for a refight here, but it's Blaziken who strikes first. Finally, Flareons gets a KO. Anemo goes down. Also, Draken on that Mamoswine falls next with the Blaziken.
Oh my gosh.
Unstoppable. Tempo finally goes down as Roland locks him down in every barrier he has, and Flareons tees it up with the snipe shot.
Very, very costly fight for both teams there, but most importantly for Orange Juicers, they get a big burst of experience, especially getting the elimination there onto that Blaziken. They need this experience so badly, because the experience difference between these two, it's becoming too wide. It's almost reaching that critical mass point. Level 12 on 2 of the calls so far, looking pretty good with the comebacks, but they really need something else. They need a tiny bit more. They found the Chandelure, throws them in the air, they get that KO. That's going to be a nice start, but this Urshifu is going to have to sacrifice himself for that knockout.
All right, we trade those KOs, and now it's Tempo's turn to get involved in the fight. Dragon Current just waiting for that Unite animation to cancel. Bounce is going to get them out of range, and Zugrug will be trying to escort the team back, but they've just taken too much damage. They simply have to retreat. Flareons might go for a cheeky steal with the snipe shot, but that is their only chance at the Reggie Alecki. Everybody else on the run.
Very nice body blocks as well coming out from that Blaziken, just saying, no snipes for you, but this will need to be dealt with on the side of Orange Juicers. If they let that Reggie Alecki through, you do not want to have any more points being scored. And oh my gosh, of all the Reggies to get coming into this final stretch, Registeel, arguably the best Reggie buff to have going into that Ray fight.
Orange Juicers have not secured a single Reggie all game, despite having Inteleon or Urshifu, Alecki or otherwise. They have not got one. And now, as the final stretch has begun, Zugrug does find Anemo alone.
They want Anemo?
And that's where they're going to engage. They're going to go all in. Super Swole Slam, going to get them out of danger and increase the danger. Zugrug goes back for the Citrus Berry. Draken engages into multiple targets on the other side. Machisel charging up, but that will be the first KO. Zugrug goes down. Draken starts the fight.
Oh, not looking too good. You've lost one of your frontliners. You really need to have someone create that space so that the Inteleon doesn't get caught. But Fusion, they know that they have their lead. It has to come down to Orange Juicers to find that opening, but they've got to make sure they don't get chipped down whilst doing so. They just don't have that same level of sustain that Fusion have for these fights.
Yeah, I mean, this Inteleon has been fantastic for Flareons, doing so much poke damage, but simply they just don't have the options to chase. Draken does try to Ice Fang, but an early throat chop by Kratos will escape that lockdown of the crowd control. So now they are rotating around this Rayquaza. We're about to hit 1 minute, and time is running out. Anemo playing on that top side again.
They caught him.
The hard call out. They will now have a 5v4 fight, playing for their tournament lives. A minute left.
Oh, they managed to catch a Chandelure with the bounce, but Shizzle finding the attacker in the backlines, Flare with the Unite as well. Selgrug, though, looking too low on that Umbreon. Basic attacks, they want the Rayquaza. Mishizzle is low. Flareon's, can he secure for the
He
team?
got it!
He got
it on
it!
the Inteleon! It must have been with an auto attack. Blaziken was set up perfectly to body block that, but there's only 20 seconds remaining. Selgrug does have a full Rayquaza shield. This is going to be so tough for Orange Juicers. They need more than 100 points. Fusion is got a hold on this series. The time is running out. Selgrug cannot score, and that will be Fusion knocking out Orange Juicers.
What a game. What a way to end that game. It looks so close.
Oh my.
So close for Orange Juicers, but just the Rayquaza, it came moments too late. Sure, you have the shields and it helps you score, but if it's an Inteleon and most of your team is gone, you still need to be protected.
Yeah, I believe it was only Flareon's and Selgrug receiving those Rayquaza shields.